Hi everyone, welcome to Self-Care with Meg. My name is Meg and I'll be leading you through your practice. Today we're going to talk about whiplash and the effect in your neck and shoulders and how some ways that you can deal with that. So I've had whiplash before. I've been rear-ended in Austin traffic, and then I can't move my head. Right, you can't really turn your head right or left. It just feels very stiff in your upper body. But besides, getting hit by a car, whiplash can happen with any sudden start to your body where your head sort of moves forward and back and really strains the muscles on the front of your neck. But there are other muscles involved with that tension. So it's not just the scalenes on the front of your neck that hook into the first two ribs. Your SCMs that go sort of right behind the ears, down those bandy muscles on the front of your neck that hook in to the clavicles on the inner point. And then there's the posterior cervical muscles, the muscles on the back of your neck, and your traps, especially the upper trapezius. As well as the splenius capitis and the splenius, what is the other one? The other splenius muscle. And those are also going to be on the back of your neck, and the lower parts are going to overlap with the traps. Well, most of it is actually going to overlap with the traps. But all of that together, when those muscles get tight, that is going to cause a stiffness in your neck, and that just lowers your quality of life, because not being able to look over your shoulder or move your upper body can create a lot more stress. And the first step, I think, to dealing with that tension is to relieve stress. Stress is only going to exacerbate that problem. So we're going to go through a body scan and some breath work, and then we'll get into just some other things to think about of your lifestyle and, of course, the trigger point and the stretching. So start seated, whether you're sitting on a bolster or in a chair or however you want to be sitting. Find a comfortable seat. Let your sit bones ground down. Let your shoulders relax out of your ears. And hands rest down on your legs. And start to notice your breath. Is it shallow or is it full? Is it a struggle to take a deep breath? Because the scalenes are a major muscle in on-purpose breathing, on taking a full inhale. So if you're finding it difficult to fully breathe in, or it's hurting in your neck when you try and take your deepest breath, chances are your scalenes are tight. So check in with that. Take some full, slow, deep breaths. They can be in and out through the nose, in through the nose, out through the mouth, whatever is most comfortable or makes that easiest for you. And we're going to move to a 4-part breath. Just to keep the breath more regular. It is also a breath that helps you to de-stress, that 4-part box breath. So exhale all of your air. Inhale through your nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause, holding your breath in. 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause, holding your breath out. 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale and keep that going. So we're going to do a body scan, and normally I would have you lay down for this body scan to make it as relaxing as possible, but in this case, the point is to pay attention to where you're holding tension which I guess is normally part of it, but while you're upright, right? While you're sitting at a desk, while you're standing, whatever you do for your job, because chances are napping is not your job, and you have to be upright throughout the day. And when we are, sitting at a desk or standing, working at a register, or whatever it is, that is the time where you need to pay attention to whether or not you're creating a lift in your shoulders, you're sticking your head out in front of you, you're clenching in your jaw, you're clenching in your neck, so that you have the opportunity to let all of that go. So keep that breath cycle going, inhale, pause, exhale, pause, as you listen and scan your body. So bring your attention all the way down to the soles of your feet. You can wiggle your toes, let them come back to their natural, relaxed curl. Soften the soles of your feet, feel that skin relax. You can feel some separation in the bones of your feet, letting your footprint take up some more space. And relax your ankles as if your feet could fall right off your body. Soften the skin all the way up your shins. Feeling those muscles relax, let go of any flex or point in the feet. And soften your kneecaps, letting the kneecaps float easily on top of your legs, not straining to hold straightened or bent. And soften in your calves, the backs of your lower legs, letting those muscles hang heavy. The hamstrings can relax, staying long and loose. In your quads, the fronts of your thighs can rest heavy over the bone. And relax the connection between your femur, your thigh bone, and your hip socket, feeling the hip flexors relax. So your entire lower body can get really heavy. So if you're sitting in a chair or sitting cross-legged, your entire lower body will feel anchored into the ground. And if you're standing, your feet will feel rooted. You'll feel the stack of your bones, making that standing a little easier. And softening your glutes, letting your butt relax. Letting go of any clench in your butt cheeks. Letting your pelvis get heavy. The two halves of your pelvis can open up away from each other, creating more space across the front of your hips. And soften in your belly. Notice if you are clenching in your abs at all. And let that go so you can let a smooth, soft breath rhythm flow in and out, feeling your belly rise and fall with the rhythm of your breath. Still inhale, pause, exhale, pause. And your lower back can relax. The tailbone can point down naturally, keeping your sacrum broad and letting your spine grow up out of your hips, one vertebrae stacking on top of the last, keeping its natural curve. Feel some strength in your back, not clenching, but keeping your spine erect, sitting up or standing up tall, so that the crown of your head can balance right on top. And relax the space in between each rib, the intercostal muscles. And smooth out the skin across your chest, letting your collarbones rest broad across its horizon. Feeling the ribs and the belly together inflate and deflate with the work of your lungs and your diaphragm. Relax your shoulders away from your ears, feeling the weight of the arms pulled down. Soft bend in the elbows, natural curl in the fingers, relaxing the hands and wrists. Smooth out the ridge line of your shoulders, giving your neck plenty of space. And let your shoulder blades hug up onto the back ribs, giving some support to your upper back and chest. And relax your neck without your head forward or back, the chin perfectly parallel with the ground. The neck can stack, working with gravity. You can feel your head floating right on top of your spine with as little effort as possible. Relax your jaw. You can swallow, maybe stick out your tongue for a moment, softening the tongue in your bottom palate and separating your teeth to relax in your jaw. Part your lips slightly to relax around the corners of your mouth. Softening any expression out of your face. You can relax your cheeks and the muscles around your eyes. Letting your eyeballs settle back into the sockets. If your eyes are open, letting your vision rest softly out in front of you, without any strain, without a pinpointed attention. And smooth out your brows, your forehead. And relax the muscles around your ears, temples, and scalp. Take another round of breath here. Inhale, pause. Exhale, pause. Then you can come back to your natural breath. And as you transition back into your natural breath, just notice how your body feels. You can take note of any place where you were holding tension, where you found that you needed to soften. And that would be a good place to check back in with whenever you're doing whatever you do throughout your day. To get into the scalenes and the SCM, so the muscles across the front of your neck, we'll start with a stretch. So you can stay seated, or you can also do it standing. And the most basic version is just to tip your right ear towards your right shoulder. And you can reach your left fingers down. My palm is facing forward, thumb facing up, to help create some more length across that ridge line, that top edge of the shoulder, stretching through the traps, through the scalenes, a little bit through the SCMs. And to get more of a stretch through your SCMs, tip your head back slightly. So my right ear is still towards my right shoulder, but I'm angling my nose up slightly to bring the stretch more to the front of the left side of my neck. Keep that slow, steady breath. An option here, if you wanted to take that left hand, tuck it behind your back and pin it to your right hip, that's just another variation. So you can play with what feels right. You can also grab opposite elbows behind your back, all variations on trying to keep your shoulders out of your ears. Stay for another breath in. Breath out, roll your chin down to your chest and let your arms relax if you've taken a bind. And lift your gaze again. We'll take the other side. Left ear towards your left shoulder, right arm. Can reach down towards the ground, out to the side. Palm faces forward, thumb faces up. Really let the weight of your head do the work. If you're not getting enough stretch like that, you can take the opposite hand, left hand in this case, just above the right ear. And without pulling on your head, let the weight of your hand bring your head farther over. Then to get more into the SCMs, turn your nose slightly up, so your hand will have to move forward slightly if you want to keep that weight, that pressure. And as I lean my head back, I feel like the weight is less necessary or less helpful. The weight of my head is plenty of a stretch. And you'll feel it probably right underneath your jaw, down the front of the right side of your neck. You might feel this up into your masseter, maybe even next to your eye. And again, if you want to tuck that hand behind your back, pin it to the opposite hip, or grab opposite elbows, that's another option. Keep your spine stacked and long here. You're not getting into a side bend, you're just bending the neck. Inhale. Exhale, roll your chin down to your chest. Let your head relax, let your arms relax. Then you can lift your gaze. Roll out your shoulders both directions, getting some movement, checking in with how that feels. All right, and we're gonna stretch the pec minor and get into the chest a little bit, the pec minor specifically with the lacrosse ball, to get that out of the way. Because when the pec minor is tight, your shoulders are gonna round, and that's gonna put more strain on the back of your neck and your upper back. So it's gonna pull on the posterior cervical muscles and the traps. So, to take a sip of tea. You'll need your lacrosse ball, and I'll get into my right side first. You'll also need a blanket here. So a blanket for underneath your head, or a very thin pillow. You don't want a big pillow, you don't want your head very supported here. Just make sure your cheekbone isn't being abused. And the pec minor attaches to the coracoid process. So if you stick your arm out to the side and feel the bony bone of the head of your shoulder, right? You feel that sort of rounded, but it's hard. Right underneath that, there is a pocket as the ribs sort of slide back underneath the head of the shoulder. That is where you're going to want the lacrosse ball, right in that pocket. And that'll get into the pec minor. So we're going to have the elbow bent for this one, and laying on your belly, elbow bent. Start with the right side, lacrosse ball in the pocket, and then both knees will go over to the left to create more pressure. You can also lay flat on your belly here. That might be enough pressure for you. Right cheek to the mat or to the blanket, 90-degree bend in your right elbow. Place the lacrosse ball where you want it, and then both knees over to the left. Then breathe into the sensation, making sure your elbow is up in line with your shoulder, palm is on the ground. Allow your shoulder blade to relax onto your back. And I encourage you to come back to that 4-part breath. Inhale, pause, exhale, pause. So it'll help you to pay attention. It'll help you to stay present to your own relaxation process. Because it is an effort to relax, especially if you're really tight here. It's going to be a lot of sensation. So allow yourself to slow down, allow yourself to stay with it. And you might feel your arm getting numb or tingly. The pec minor goes over a nerve and an artery. So when you put a lacrosse ball on it and stretch into it and put more tension into it, it's going to compress that nerve and that artery. And your arm might fall asleep. But as soon as you come out of it, it'll go away and the feeling will come back. And doing that body scan as a daily meditation not only will help your ability to focus and your mindfulness, and of course your relaxation, right, by systematically softening different parts of your body, but it can also help expand your self-awareness, expand your perspective. Because that is the natural result, I would say, of meditation, right? Is a mindfulness awareness practice, not one or the other, but both. If you would like to stay longer, of course you can. If you're ready to move on and you have relaxed enough, you've felt some change, you can roll back onto your belly. Come off of that lacrosse ball. And we're going to get one more point in the chest before we move on to the other side. So collarbone, right? Collarbone moves across the top of your chest, and you have pec attachments into it. Also, the scalene moves right under it, attaching to the first rib, and then to the second rib. Some of the scalenes attach to the second rib, which will be right below the collarbone. So halfway between the outer tip and the inner tip of the collarbone, right underneath it is where you're going to want the lacrosse ball. So this time your arm is going to be straight out to the side. You can come back onto your belly, right cheek to the mat, right arm straight out to the right, palm faces down. Again, this might be enough pressure for you, or you can bring both knees again over to the left. And you're getting into upper fibers of the pec as well. Again, good to release there, to take some of the tension out of your shoulders and stop that tug of war between your upper back and your chest. Make sure that you are still breathing. And you can come back to your body scan even here. It doesn't have to be as detailed even as what I offered, but just dragging your attention up and down your body. Noticing if there's any place where you can soften, and especially noticing if there's somewhere where you're really gripping, right? We tend to grip subconsciously, holding on either, I don't know, it gets conditioned into us a lot of different ways, but through fear or stress, through policing our bodies. And you can let all of that go, right? It's just a matter of awareness, of noticing what you're doing and giving yourself permission to not do it anymore. All right, again, you can stay here for as long as you'd like, but if you're ready to move on, you can again roll back onto your belly. Take that lacrosse ball out, and it can feel nice to release into a child's pose, letting your arms extend, letting your head relax. And then we'll set up for the other side. So to recap, your arm will be bent to 90 degrees. Your lacrosse ball will be right in that pocket underneath the bone on the front of your shoulder. And then knees will be over to the right this time. All right. Left cheek to the mat, left elbow up in line with my shoulder, and then both knees over to the right, placing the lacrosse ball where you want it, and then allowing your head, neck, shoulders to all relax. And make sure you're not pressing the ground away through your left arm. We can lift up on the elbow or press down through the hands or grip in the fingers, and try and let all of that go, letting your arm just be floppy. And check in with your face and especially your jaw. Any tension that you're holding in your face will definitely feed down into your neck. So let all of that soften. Let your mouth be relaxed, your tongue be relaxed. Sometimes, again, swallowing or sticking out your tongue and then letting it come back to natural placement will help with that. Then a few more things about just self-care, taking care of yourself if you are experiencing the symptoms of whiplash. The first thing, as I already mentioned, is dealing with your stress. Your stress level is really going to affect the tension in your neck and shoulders. So doing those body scans, making sure that you're getting enough sleep, making sure you're drinking enough water. And then, what are your major stressors in your life, and can you cut some of those down? I know that, work can be a major stress, and I'm definitely not suggesting just quit your job, but where can you affect change? Are you bringing work home that you don't need to be? Are you rehashing your day with your roommate or your partner or whoever's at home when you could just leave that work at work and effort to not think about it anymore? To put down the conversation about work once you reach home, once you reach your safe space, your relaxing space. All right, take another breath cycle here. And then I'm going to roll right into the other one. So halfway between the outer and inner points of the collarbone, the clavicle, place the lacrosse ball right underneath the clavicle. Arm is going to extend straight out to the side, palm face down. And then I'm going to bring my knees back over to the right. So I've essentially just moved it in to the midline of my pec. And a part of meditation is, I don't want to say cleaning up your life, but essentially that's it. Cleaning up your life to make it more conducive to a meditation practice. And one of the suggestions is to spend more time with people that you love and who love you back, and less time with people who you don't love and who you don't think love you back. So, is spending more time with coworkers really necessary? Do you have to go to that happy hour? Do you have to do that coffee date? Are family obligations really obligations, or are you just choosing to do them? And again, this is not a suggestion to cut everyone who stresses you out of your life. But can you lessen the time that you spend with people who add to your stress? All right, I'm going to roll back onto my belly, take the lacrosse ball out from underneath my chest, and again, press back to a child's pose. Relax your forehead down, relax your arms. And roll yourself back up to a seat. All right, we're going to now flip over and get into the traps, the splenius capitis, and work on the back body here for just a minute. So, you won't need your blanket anymore. You'll really just need your lacrosse ball. And first, we're going to get into pretty much right at the corner of your neck and shoulders, just behind that point. So that is going to be both splenius capitis and upper trap that we're getting into. So placing the lacrosse ball right behind that space. And when you get onto your back, you're going to tuck your hands behind your head. So I'm starting with my left side, doesn't matter what side you start with. Put this back on. And you'll tuck your hands behind your head, legs can rest however they're most comfortable. And if letting your elbow open all the way up doesn't feel good, you can take a prop placed underneath your arm for support. It can sometimes feel like too much of a stretch in your deltoids or even in your arm, lower in your arm. So make sure that that is as relaxed as possible. Then head is fully relaxed. You are not using the muscles on the front of your neck here at all to pick up your head. And that is something else to pay attention to. When you get up from bed or from laying down or whatever, anything that you're doing with your head back, you can roll onto your side and then come up. Or you can put a hand behind your head and pick your head up. Especially if you're in the middle of having an injury, don't use the muscles on the front of your neck to lift your head, right? And if you tend to prop yourself, or not prop yourself, but exactly the opposite, not prop yourself when you're watching TV or something like that, and you're instead picking your head up to look forward, don't do that. Don't strain the front of your neck unnecessarily. And if your TV posture is a head forward posture or looking down, try and change that as well. It's not doing your neck any favors. It's putting more strain in the back of your neck, in the posterior cervical muscles, in the suboccipital muscles, and it's going to do damage long term. All right, when you're ready to move on, you are going to move that, like what I just did. Don't do that. If you have whiplash, if the front of your neck is strained, don't pick your head up like that. I'll do it again the way that I'm talking about. So either roll over onto your side and press yourself up like that, or if you are insistent on coming up from your back, place a hand behind your head, lift your head, and come up. All right, so lacrosse ball was right behind that corner. Now we are going to move the lacrosse ball in towards the spine and down slightly. So it's more in line with the top edge of your shoulder blade. And same thing when you're laying down, you can hold the back of your head as you roll down. Place the lacrosse ball where you want it, in towards the spine, in line with the top edge of the shoulder blade, and then get some movement in your arm for this one. Checking out how those muscles feel, what direction of your arm gives you a good amount of sensation. And then wherever you choose to rest your arm is fine. And again, you can rest it on a blanket or a bolster if bringing it all the way to the ground is too much sensation. So having my elbow propped all the way up here feels best for me today. Check back in with your breath. Make sure that you are either taking that full 4-part breath or just taking full breath cycles. Letting your arm be as relaxed as possible. Softening your jaw, softening your face. And whenever sensation changes or dissipates, you can move on. Right? Once something changes, you're good to go. You can move on to the other side. All right, again, you can stay here as long as you like. And if you're ready to move on, take the lacrosse ball out. If you need to get any movement, whatever is intuitive, just do that. Then I'll move right into the other side. So right at the corner of the neck and shoulders, right behind that space, and then hands tucked behind the head, elbows open up. Really let your eyeballs settle back into the sockets. Letting go of any strain in your eyes, tightness in your cheeks. And then besides avoiding things or changing things more appropriately that stress you out actively, do you take time every day to de-stress, to do things that you enjoy that help you feel relaxed? I love taking baths. I do it as often as I can, as often as I have time for. I also need to do physical activity, whether that's rock climbing or going to the gym or running or just something to get out some energy and make me feel settled and relaxed. And then also gardening, even just folding the laundry sometimes is a really meditative and relaxing activity for me. So whatever it is for you, setting time aside and making it a priority to do something that is relaxing for you. It doesn't have to be something that takes a long time, right? Taking a walk around the block can be very relaxing, I guess, depending on where you live. But doing something, right? Baking, taking a shower, listening to some relaxing music. But actively relaxing is different from checking out. There is an awareness and a meditative mindfulness component to relaxing. So watching TV does not count. whenever you're ready, you can move that lacrosse ball in towards the spine and down in line with the top edge of the shoulder blade. Get some movement in your arm. And then wherever you need your arm to relax on this side, do that. And it might be different. Like, I don't need to have my arm up on a blanket on this side. It feels okay without it. As you're settling into each shape, it's good to take some open mouth exhales to get over the first round of intense sensation, right? Because as you're settling into a pose, that is usually when it's most intense, and then maybe another round of intensity will come after you let go some, fully let your weight relax on the lacrosse ball or stop resisting the sensation. I often find that I'll get a second round of, ooh, this just got way more intense again. But using some open mouth exhales, some sounds with your breath can help to allow that to dissipate. All right, stay here for as long as you need to let something change. And when you're ready to come out of it, you can take that lacrosse ball out from underneath your shoulder. Maybe take a full body stretch. Any other movement that is natural to you. And you can roll over onto your side and press yourself up to a seat. For the next one, I recommend having a tennis ball instead of a lacrosse ball, just something a little softer. Because we're going to get into the scalenes. So again, scalenes coming down, side front of the neck, hooking in underneath the collarbone to the first rib, and then the outermost one goes over the collarbone, hooks into the second rib. And we're going to get right above the collarbone. And as a warning, this is usually a lot of sensation. I don't have whiplash, and this is going to be a lot of sensation for me. So take it slow. If it's too much, don't do it. Go away. All right. So you're going to need both your bolster and a block for this one. And you're going to lay on your belly, and you're going to have the tennis ball right above your collarbone. Pretty much in the middle, maybe out to the side a little bit. And it'll be based on sensation for you. So not right in the middle, that's going to choke you out. In the middle of the collarbone, possibly lateral, out to the side a little bit more. So I'll do my right side first. And I'm going to lay on my belly. And I have my block on the lowest setting. Lacrosse ball, or not lacrosse ball, tennis ball is right above my clavicle. And I'm going to scoot this bolster in so it's underneath my head. And that is going to make sure that I'm not putting too much pressure on the tennis ball. And the bolster is firm. It's not a soft pillow. It's firm. So if you don't have a bolster, you need to choose something that is firm and is taller than your block. And then my right arm, elbow is bent, palm is on the ground. You can also do arm out to the side, arm down by your side, but try and have your palm facing the ground. It'll just be more anatomically correct in your posture. And once you're here, breathe into your belly. So use that reference of your belly pressing into the mat with every inhale as an anchor for your focus. So like I said, this is a lot of sensation for me. I'm feeling it all the way down into my thumb. I'm feeling it very strongly through my bicep and through my elbow. And the effort here is to relax your head. So again, having something firm enough and tall enough underneath your head so that it's a tolerable amount of pressure of that tennis ball onto your scalenes. So try not to press the ground away through your right arm. Make sure you're not picking up that right shoulder at all. Try and take any pressure out of your upper back. And as soon as you feel a change with this one, feel free to come out of it. You don't need to stay with it any longer than is necessary. And something to pay attention to, if you're on something that is thumping, you're in the wrong spot. So don't be on top of an artery. All right, when you're ready, you can come off of that. Maybe come up onto your forearms, just let your head hang for a moment. And then you can take the other side. So, on the left side, right in the middle of your collarbone, maybe slightly out to the side, slightly lateral. Same thing. And bring the tennis ball onto the block. Block is on the lowest level. And then my head will be on my bolster. And this side actually isn't as bad as the right side was. So my right neck must have been a bit tighter, or must be a bit tighter. Yeah, it's definitely a lot easier for me to relax on this side. And if you're dealing with a muscle that is really tight, it's pretty normal to feel some amount of panic or fear around allowing yourself to feel that sensation. Right? Your nervous system is going to try and avoid discomfort, not move into it and relax around it naturally. So that is the work, that is the effort. That it's okay to be uncomfortable. You know your body well enough to not hurt yourself. You know the difference between discomfort and pain. And remembering that can help you to relax around discomfort and let it dissipate. Let it go away. All right, whenever you're ready to come off of this side, you can work your way back up. And when you come up from this one, let your head fully hang, coming onto all fours, coming into a cat pose. Shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees, and then press the ground away, but let your head fully relax. Feel like your mid-back is being pulled straight up. Another deep breath in. Deep breath out. And come back through neutral. And I have just one more thing for this round, and it should be a lot more relaxing than what we just did. And you will just need your block. Block will be on the second highest level, and we're going to get right into our suboccipital ridge, so right where your skull meets your neck, so you can feel that hard bone, that ridge line of the skull. So right at that point. And then we're going to move the edge of the block down maybe a half an inch to get more into the posterior cervical muscles, so farther down. So you can come onto your back, block on the second, the medium level, legs however they are comfortable. And then my chin is tucked in towards my chest. I'm not trying to rest the back of my head on the block and look up. Nope, not like that. Let your gaze come forward so that corner is really moving into that space at the base of your skull. And then once you're here, rock your head right and left. Really let your jaw relax, your eyes relax, your face soften. You may feel a little drooly even here. It can feel pretty good to massage these muscles. And then come over to the left side and little rocks back and forth. Just really massaging those attachments. And then you can tip your head over to the right. Little rocks back and forth, massaging those attachments. And if a big part of your day is looking down at your phone, this is definitely something you should be doing regularly. Luckily, it feels pretty good, so that should be another incentive for doing it. But we're getting into not just the posterior cervical muscles and splenius muscles, but we're getting into the suboccipital muscles, the muscles that help to hold up your head, and muscles that specifically get strained when you look down at your phone, putting all of that weight of your big-ass brain onto the back of your neck. All right, and you can keep doing this for as long as you like. And when you are ready to move on, you're going to move the corner of that block down about an inch, still letting your head be tipped forward slightly. And again, you'll rock your head right and left, just getting into more of the meat of those posterior cervical muscles. And tip your head over to the right, and then little rocks right and left. And it'll be slightly less relaxing, but you can also do this on top of the skull, so just above your suboccipital ridge. And that can be good, especially if you get headaches. So all of those muscles that wrap around your skull, you'll get into the attachments of that on top of the skull. All right, you can rock your head over to the left. And get some little rocks of your head back and forth here. All right, come back through center. Just let your head relax here. You can scoot the edge back up right underneath the base of the skull. And then when you're ready, you can roll over onto your side, press yourself up to a seat. And sit up nice and tall. Recommit to relaxing through your shoulders and through your neck as you come upright. Check in to make sure you are letting your shoulder blades slide down your back, your arms be heavy, your head stack right over your spine, your chin is parallel with the ground. Deep breath in. Big breath out. Thank you for taking some time to practice today. These are things that you can use individually or as a full routine, and I'll actually do another Whiplash video that will get into trigger points for the SCM and some other stuff, but this should help to take care of it. Make sure that you keep your neck warm too, especially as we get into the cooler months. Wear a warm scarf. You can use a heating pad on your neck and shoulders. All those things will help. So again, thanks for watching. Thanks for taking care of yourself. And until next time, I hope you can let something go.